Now, what if we wanted to set a default value for this input? Now, we can set a default value that will get triggered to be saved once the form is submitted. But let's say we want to set a default setting of it before anybody goes in and submits this form. How do we do that? Well, the way we do it is by adding an element in our info file, a key value pair, that specifies a setting and the value of that setting. So let's go ahead and do that next and create a default for this subheading. Go ahead and jump to your resource pack directory. And in it, let's go ahead and open up the 9th step, which is called bat.info, adding a setting. And go ahead and copy the entire code and paste it in your current bat.info file and save it. Okay, we've done two things here. One is we've removed the included JavaScript file from our previous example because it was just posting an alert to let us know that it was being included. And secondly, we've added a default for our new setting by using the settings parameter here. And inside of the brackets, we're putting the name of the setting that we want to set the default for. So in this case, it's the bat subheading item in the settings array. And we're assigning it a value of this is a default. Now, because we've made a change to our .info file, we'll need to go ahead and rebuild our theme registry. So go ahead and jump back to the browser. And let's go ahead and clear our caches. I'm just going to hover over the home button here in my admin menu and click flush all caches. And now you can see that we have a default for our subheading. This is a default. Now keep in mind that I still haven't submitted this form, but this is the default that will be used when we go to render this element inside of our template file. Let's go ahead and take that step next. So we have the setting, we've set a default for it, we've altered the theme settings form, and now we need to grab that element and pull it into our template file. So we're going to do that by altering our page.tpl.php file slightly. Go ahead and jump to your resource pack directory, and let's open up the 10th step, which is page.tpl.php display subheading. Go ahead and copy the entire code. And if you haven't already, go ahead and open up your page.tpl.php file. And we're going to replace the entire code with the code that we just copied from our step file and save it. Go ahead and do a search on the page for subheading. And this should highlight the change that we've made to this file. It's just a single line right here on line 102. We're starting out with an if statement because we're checking to see first if a setting exists for this particular setting. If it's blank, we don't want to wrap any tags around it, but if it does exist, what we want to do is wrap a heading tag around it and then print it out. So you see that we're using the same function that we used in order to pull in the default setting into our form alter in order to pull it into the template file. Now let me just say briefly that this isn't the ideal way to do this and that we're going to move into a better way in our next step, but this is a first step. Normally we wouldn't want this logic inside of our template.php file. But what we're doing is pulling in the setting, checking to see if it exists, and if it does, we're going to go ahead and print it out, wrapped in heading 2 tags. Okay, make sure that this template file is saved. And let's go ahead and jump to the browser and take a look at our changes. I'm just going to go back to our home page. We don't need to clear the registry this time because it's not a change to the info file or a change in location of a template file, just the content of the template file. And you see here, we have our default heading setting right here. And if we wanted to change this, we can click on Appearance in the menu, go to Settings for our theme, and change this to something else. Let's go ahead and save this form and jump back to the home page. Now we see we have something else as our subheading.